as I mentioned earlier, we always tune the jode string first. So your hand should be on the peg of the jode string, the second peg over here. You can position your sitar up and down to get as comfortable as possible. Importantly, the sitar should be resting on your leg so that you can press into your thigh as you tune. The base of your sitar here should be on the ground, should not be lifted up. If your sitar doesn't rest on both knees, like in this case, you can see there's a bit of gap here on my sitar. That's fine. I've got the sitar resting on my leg, and that's enough. So now we strike the jode string. Now I'm going to purposely untune my jode string here a little bit, and I'm going to strike the jode string. But even before I do that, I keep my ear tuned back again to the sound of the sa. Sa. And now I strike the string. So obviously it's wrong. And now we have to try and feel whether it's lower than the reference sa or higher. Sa, sa, so it's quite obviously lower, which means I have to raise the sound, make the sound higher. To make the sound higher on this jode string, I turn the peg clockwise, and I do it in very small increments so as to feel how far the string is moving. Just very small turns of the wrist. Okay, now I've tuned it a little bit higher up, higher than where it was originally. Let's check again. Sa, sa. It's still a bit lower than where I want it to be. So again, I'm going to continue turning. Until I reach what I think is very close to the sa. Sa, la, sa. Now on the first 4 strings of the sitar, there normally should be tuning beads. On the boltar and for jode, you will find the tuning beads on this side of the sitar. And for the karaj, pancham and karaj, you will find the tuning beads on this side of the sitar. These tuning beads are fine tuning beads. So it just changes the sound in a very small gradation, up or down. If you push it further away from you, the sound gets tighter, which means it goes up. If you pull it towards you, the sound comes slightly down. So this is the case of my jode string. I feel it's gone a little bit too high, so I'm going to now bring it a bit lower to where I think it is. So again, my right hand does not move, my right hand stays where it is. It's my left hand that crosses over and holds the bead. I strike the string with my right hand and then pull the bead in. Now I've done it too much. I want to make it higher again, so I'm going to push it away. And then it feels right now. Sa. And that's how you tune your jode string. I will demonstrate just one more. Let's say I'm tuning the chikari string. So again, for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to untune the string. And it sounds like this. Obviously very loose. If it becomes too loose, let's say I turn it further, now the string is absolutely loose. I'm holding it in my hand. Obviously there's going to be no sound coming out of that. So I'd have to tighten the string to a point where I can hear something. Okay, I'm hearing something, and obviously it's not the sound that I want. What I want to hear is sa pa sa. So now I pluck the string and then turn the peg. Sa pa sa. So you can use the help of the other strings once you tune them to get a gauge of that chikari sa as well. Now another thing that I failed to mention earlier was, as you turn that peg, you need to push it down into the body of the sitar. Use your leg as a pivot, as a rest, so that as you turn, you're not just turning the peg left to right or clockwise to anti-clockwise. You're actually pushing it downwards into the body, so it gets a good grip. You can see my shoulder here is working. I'm pushing it downwards. After you tune, you would probably have to strike it a few times, maybe even press the string down gently here to get it to settle nicely. You might find that after pressing a little bit here, not too much, but just a little pressure here, you'll find that the pitch might come down a little bit. So again, you would turn it up to get it to the exact note. Now I'll come to boltar string because that's the main string that we play all the time, and that's tuned to Ma. So let's listen to it. Again, I'm just untuning my boltar slightly, so we will practice tuning it up. Jo, sa, boltar, sa, ma. So obviously that's wrong. Now let me try and feel whether it's lower or higher than the ma. Sa, ma. It sounds like sa, re. So obviously it's lower than that ma. I need to turn it up. For the boltar, you turn it anti-clockwise to make it higher. So let's try to do that. Small increments. Let's check here now. Sa, re, ga, ma, sa, ma. Still not quite right, so it still sounds a bit too low. Let's see if we can get it up. Sa, ma. Okay, that sounds close by. Sa, ma. Now let's check and see if we've got it right. We can do the check in a few ways. One is by actually pressing down on the sa fret and seeing if the sa sounds like sa. In this case, I feel that it's slightly off. It's slightly still a bit on the lower side. So what I would do is go back to my tuning bead, which is on that side. So I go all the way here, and I'm going to and then test it again. I would tuck the string a few times downwards just to get it to settle nicely. Still a bit more adjustment to make. Tug again. Sa. Yes. You would spend a little bit more time on your boltar string because obviously that is the string that you're pressing and playing and pulling and striking a lot. So you need that to be nicely settled. And that's how we tune the 7 top strings. One last point when you are tuning your sitar do remember that the string, if it is too loose, it will not play. If it's too tight, it will snap. So you have to be extremely careful that you do not break your string. Sometimes the string will break, and that's inevitable, and of course then we have to learn how to change it and get a new string put in its place. But as much as possible, we want to try to avoid breaking the string by being careless. So when you do tune, just bear in mind that most of the time the string would have come down or gone up in pitch by just a little bit. So the kind of turning that you need to do is very slight, it's very small. It's never a point where you would hold on to the peg and then twist it with your full turn of your arm, full turn of your wrist. You normally would tune it, if you can see my wrist here, to tune it up, you would normally turn it so that you would get up to there. That's it, from here to there or so. Not more than that. It's never where you have to turn and then catch and turn again and catch and turn again. It's never like that, unless you're changing the string for the first time. So do keep that in mind. If you feel that you're turning and turning and turning the string, probably the string, you're not feeling the right note and the string is going to break. So do be aware of that. Slow down, listen again, and try and feel that note once again and try tuning once again.